Okay, welcome to part 3 of the CMS training for SEIU and Classified Senate web pages. I wanted to show you two more major things. One is address the question of how we how do we access files that we want. First, we upload them into the DAM, and we find a place in the DAM that we have access to putting images in and that we wish to draw from. The DAM is like very much like Windows in that it has the structure is like a directory, similar to the web pages. But if you think of them as folders, then you're just putting them into a folder, any folder you want that you have access to, and then linking to them when wanting to access them on the live pages. So the one that I mostly have access to is research, or mostly use rather, is research planning grants. But let's go to what we're more concerned with, which is the SEIU folder. Here it is, under Organizational Assets, About CCSF, SEIU. It's also a Classified Senate folder. Under SEIU, I have Classified Holiday, Schedule, the Educational Grant, some other forms, etc. If I want to add a file that I can then link to, I will not just simply hit new, because this is what happens. It wants to create a new page. But you could create a new page here too, although I wouldn't create a new page in the DAM. You want to create that over here in the web pages area. I'll hit cancel. I'll hit the arrow rather and hit new file, because it defaults to new page when I hit new. So instead I'll hit new file, and it will ask me to browse. I'll hit browse. I'll find my file. I'll hit upload. Then it will end up, let me do that here. I will do this locator image again. So I'm going to upload a PNG file. I hit upload. Now in order for this to be usable, it has to be activated. Right now it's not activated. You can see all these squares are gray. In order to know that it's activated, you'll see a green box next to the file name. So I'll hit activate. This is what it looks like when it's activated with the green box. If I deactivate it, which means it will no longer come up from any live pages, I'll hit yes. And deactivated is indicated by a red square. The blue square here indicates in process or modified rather. There is no real in process, I suppose, although it does take a little while for documents, files to upload and be available in the system. It could take between 15 and 20 minutes, in fact, whereas pages typically take less time to activate or to show up live after activating. So I've deactivated this. Normally, if I deactivate and am absolutely sure I don't want this file to exist anywhere ever again, at least for the time being, I'll both deactivate it, as I've done, and then delete it. I can put it back later, I know where it is, but for now I don't want it to be in CMS whatsoever. So once I have these files here in these DAM folders, they're accessible when I want to link to them from these hyperlinks, which, by the way, I can always unlink any link here that I've added, or simply edit the hyperlink. Now remember, when you want to add a folder, want to add a file from the DAM folders, you go and you link to that file. And cancel. This is what it looks like when I unlink. In fact, I can just click within the text of any link and simply unlink, and the entire link will disappear. But I can hit cancel to make sure that change doesn't occur. But if I hit OK instead of cancel, then that change would occur and I would have to relink. Let's move on to image files. This is an image file. The way I created this component, I used an image file to create this component, and I'll show you how. Under the CCSF components, I'll grab a CCSF image, put it in, and edit. I have to give it a title, so I'm going to call it the SEIU Locator Leadership Test Image.
So,
yes?
Question. So, in other places you've taken it from the DAM, and here you've got this list. Are those frequently used things?
The DAM, those are separate things. The DAM has files that are like a file library, and these are different kinds of components. So the component images.
Different components. Okay.
It's a good question. It's a good thing to remember the difference between.
Okay.
You can put Flash component. You can put.
So once you have put the component, which is kind of the area to drop or type things, then you can get something from the DAM and put it in.
That's correct.
All right.
So just to address the differences, the way that I grab files from the DAM is by creating links to them in text. And text can be in a text component. Text can be in a title component. There are also some components like the link arrow lists where you can create links to files as well. Some of these components you cannot grab files from the DAM. That's not what they're intended to do. For example, this image component, I have to upload directly an image, not from the DAM, but from somewhere else. So either from my desktop, as in I browse, I open, and I find a file, or I drag a file directly in. But let's try the first way. So I've named it SEIU Locator Leadership Test Image. I'm going to the image, I'm going to drop an image, and that's going to be the locator PNG. CMS only accepts certain file types. PNG is one of them. It also accepts PDF, but I don't think it likes PDF for image components. So it gets a little picky, but it will let you know along the way what kind of file types are acceptable for which components. PNG is fine. It's actually preferable to me. I like PNG files for images. I'll open. Or JPEG. Now it's having trouble. Oh, no, it just took a little while. The slider is just to take a closer look. It doesn't actually enlarge the image. The only way to enlarge the image is to do that in another program and then put that into CMS once it's enlarged or shrunk to the proper size. So I would suggest using Paint to do that. Paint, everyone has access to Paint who has a City College computer, and so that's pretty standard and pretty simple. So when I hit OK here, remember I didn't shrink it or enlarge it. This slider is just for my own personal view. I hit OK, and I actually get the exact same image. The reason I get the exact same size image is that I saved this image to this local computer, and now I'm just using the exact same image. But if I find that an image is much bigger than this web page has room for, I will change its size through Paint. So let's take a look at that. So I have it open in Paint. In Paint, I can just resize. And I'm just going to do a guess and check, trial and error. If I want it to be 50%, I'll put 50. If I want it to be 25%, I'll put 25. I'll try that out. Save that. And then upload it, the new file, in the image box here. I'll clear this and then do it again. Now, I would stay away from resizing any particular image file more than once, because a resize from a resize starts to look grainy and not very professional. So if you don't like the dimensions to which you resize the file, open the original file again, the original dimensions, and resize again. So just save new copies of the files, of that same file, in order to experiment to what level you'd like to resize your image. But stay away from resizing an already resized image. So that's a glimpse at the image component. And I'm going to delete this one I've added. This was the test one. Let's see if it's the test one. Yep. SEIU locator leadership test image. So I'll delete that. And in fact, I'm not activating any of this anyway, but I want to make the page, I want to get it back to where it was in case someone else comes back and wants to change this page in the future, and they want to activate it afterwards. Let's look at one more thing, which is creating new pages. We touched on it before, but if I have whoops, if I have Academic Senate is open, I can close that. Here's our SEIU Local 1021 City College Chapter page, and I have two child pages, and they're visible here. I can click on them in the left-hand navigation, and then click back. I can either click back or follow the breadcrumb trail, as it's called, at the top, and go back to the original day. I use the word day because I saw Flex Day, but the original page. I have two child pages here. I can create more. I can create as many as I'd like. I can do that best from this this view. And if I click on the main page that we're looking on, we'll see that we have three child pages. One of them was deactivated. It was the old SEIU page, and once we deactivated it, it disappeared from the navigation. One way to make a page not inactive yet disappear from the navigation is simply to right click on it, go to Properties, and there's a box, Hide in Navigation. That way the page won't show up in the left-hand navigation of the parent page, but you'll still keep it alive for whatever reason you want. You still have a link that you want people to go to and see that page. There are other things you can do under Properties, but we're not going to go into them. And you'll find most likely you barely use them anyway. But if I wanted to create a new page, I can hit either the arrow New Page or simply hit New and create a new page and put its title. This title is what is the default the title component here. So you can change it again, or if you leave it blank, it will default to the title you gave it originally. When you create a new page, you're also deciding on its design, so you can decide on the left-hand navigation and the three columns as we've been looking at so far, or you can choose a one column, which is one space to work in, and so forth. So you can choose different designs. The default design is going to come from the parent page, so that's what it'll give you first, but it doesn't have to be such. So that's how you would create a new page. And if you're highlighted here under SEIU Local 1021 and you hit New Page, and I create a test page, then it should be the child page of SEIU Local 1021. But if you have highlighted SEIU over here at Archives, for example, and you create a new page, then it will become a child page of that. So it goes by what you have highlighted on this panel, not in this panel. For now, I'm going to delete these tests. We never activated them, so there should be no issues around anyone else needing to access them. Or one thing you want to check when deleting a page is make sure that no one else has links to that page and are expecting to find something when they go to that page, because they'll come up with a dead end. So I'll delete that. And there are many more things to know about CMS, more nuances, but those are the basics, especially as they pertain to SEIU and Classified Senate at City College. And thank you for your time, and good luck.